All right, let's get started. Welcome back. Happy Monday. And what's going to be kind of a weird week. Today's the only day that I'm going to see you in person, because Wednesday is SATs for seniors, which means it's a remote day for everybody else. So if you're a senior, you're taking the SAT that day. The schedules are up in senior hall and in the English hallway. And if you're not a senior, then you have nothing to do on Wednesday. You're good to go. So I put this up to kind of give everybody a heads up for what's going on. Do you believe this is the 5th week of school? 5th week of school starts this week. It's crazy. So we still have a couple folks live at home. This will be the last time we'll have to do this, hopefully, where I have to record the lesson. But nothing new today, which is good. But so that you know, for tomorrow and Thursday, because you guys will be remote then, and of course Friday, new rule for Pondo, not just me, but everybody, your attendance that you take yourself online has to be done by 10 a.m. You can't just jump on at some point on that day. It's got to be done by 10 a.m. For it to count. What's that? Probably midnight, right? So you might be able to get it done the night before, technically, if that works, and then you can wake up and then get done whatever you need to get done. Okay. So Cohort B's plan for today is going to be a little bit different than ours, but we're going to take a look at that 1.1 practice that we did, and make sure that the answers that you have are the answers that are what I have. But I want to talk about something else first. And this goes for everybody at home too. I graded quiz number 0. And I put those grades in. Now, not everybody had it submitted. So if you are one of those people that doesn't have a grade in the grade book yet, because I didn't get it. And that's an issue, because it's been over a week now since that was due. And we're losing lots of points. But here's the other thing. It was pretty clear that more than one of you used photo math on that quiz. I'm a math teacher, I know what it looks like. And so here's the deal that I'm going to make with everybody, because there's more than one person in every class. That if you did that, if you used outside help besides yourself, your notes, or me, and you admit it, not in front of everybody right here, right now, but you shoot me an email, or you shoot me a message on Canvas that says, "Look, Rosie, I messed up. I know, like, honesty, that's the only thing that matters to me, and I broke that." If you admit that, then you and I can move forward, and we'll come to some reasonable solution. But if you did it, and you don't own up to it, then everybody's going to hurt. Okay, you're gonna hurt the whole class. Everybody's grade is gonna suffer. Okay, and I know who used photo math. I can tell. Okay, so I will give you until the end of the day today to be honest with me and be honest with yourself that you used something outside of your notes to answer one or more of those questions. Okay, got it? Okay, so please do that if I'm talking to you. If I'm not talking to you and you did it honestly, then you're good. Okay, but if the people that did it don't come forward and own up to it, your grade's going to suck. Okay, because the actions of others sometimes hurt us, and that sucks. But that's the reality of how this class runs. We work as a group. It's not the 15 of you and the 1 of me. It's the 16 of us, and everybody hurts if somebody screws up. Okay, so let's not do that. Okay, so that's that. That's quiz number 0, issues. But in general, I thought we did pretty good. Use your notes well. You showed a lot of good work. One of the, again, 80% was one of the lowest grades, which was awesome. So I felt really good about where we're at. So that was cool. But I want to get some more stuff in the grade book, because we're more than halfway through the first quarter. So I want to check the 1.1 practice solution. So take that out. Practice 1.1 that you submitted this weekend front and back. We started in class, I think, maybe Wednesday. I forget if I got this to you. I don't know if you got the hard copy of that or if that was a Thursday, Friday thing. I'd have to look back. Hold on, let me do that. Let me see. That might have been Friday. So it's a front and back. I might have, yeah. So it's got the two on, it says 1.1 practice right at the top. Not homework 1.1, but it should say right in the middle, it should say 1.1 practice. If it says 1.1 practice at the top, yeah. You need one? I got you, Gab. Yeah, I've got lots of copies if anybody doesn't have them with doesn't have it with them. Need one? Yeah. And it might have been Friday. I don't know. It feels like forever ago. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I know. You and I have some catching up to do for sure. Homework 1.1, I think, as well, right? Anybody else? Yeah, of course. Mark, I got some more. I make copies. Yes. I'll get one. I'll get one for you, but then you'll have to sharpen it. This might have been, I forget when we did this. Anybody else?
I got one offline.
It should be online, yeah. The hard copies are nice to have. It might have been Friday, because there's Friday's announcement. Complete and submit 1.1 practice by Sunday before midnight. We'll be doing an example during class. Yeah. All right, click there. Boom, there it is. So that sounds like you guys didn't do it then. Is that where we're at? If you needed a hard copy today, does that mean that you have not done it yet? Okay. And if you did it, but obviously you don't have a hard copy because maybe you don't have a printer at home, that's fine. But do you have the answers with you? Then that's cool. That's fine. Yeah, pull up the answers. All I want you to do is be able to check to see how you did. Because what I want to do is make sure we feel really good about this stuff and then do it for real right now. I want to give you, let's call it a quiz 1.1 where you have your notes, you can work with me, you can talk to me, you can't talk to each other, but I want to pull up the solutions to this. Yeah. Yeah, of course. I like the hard copies too. So anything that I assign to you on a virtual day that I can make a hard copy of, I will have one for you when you get to class next time for sure. So let's pull, if you've done it, pull it up on Canvas, and let's check to see how we did. And worst case, write it down on the hard copy that you just got from me. Let me pull up the solutions. There you go. Here's the front. And it might be, you clicked off. Might be a little small. Let me blow this up just a little bit. Folks at home can see all right. I'm sharing it, but for you guys in the back, there we go. That's a little better. So remember, this first group right here, these first four are just points. Okay. Then from there on down, it's intervals. So it's going to be a combination of hard and soft brackets. But look back to see how you did. Make sure you get it. Ask me questions. Then we'll flip on to the back. We'll do it again. Check to see how you did. Especially hard bracket versus soft bracket with things like the positive and negatives, domain and range. Increasing and decreasing is always soft brackets. Increasing, decreasing, always soft brackets. The positive and negative, it can only be a hard bracket at an endpoint. And definitely a soft bracket at x-intercepts if things are changing at that point, because obviously they are going positive to negative. And if you've got more than one interval where stuff's happening, that's where that U comes in, right? U for union. All right, so one more minute checking these, and then I will flip to the back. Yeah, sorry, Cage. Down just a little bit. And worst case, write this down so you've got it. So we can look back at it and make some sense of it.
What's the hard bracket rule on the negative and positive again?
It can only be at an endpoint. So if it's like the first point and it starts positive, then I'm going to include it. If it's the last point and it ends positive, I'm going to include it. If it's or negative. If it's the first point and it's negative, like it starts below the x-axis, the very first point on a graph, then I can count that one. Like if you look at this first one, I'll go back up to the graph. Like that's positive right there. So it is positive from 1, 2, 3, -4, hard bracket for sure. -4, but just to -3 and then soft bracket. So all of your x-intercepts where things are going to change, those have to be soft brackets. But you're starting positive, so -4, count it. You're ending positive, so at 2, count it. All right, hard bracket because it's an endpoint. X-intercept soft bracket, x-intercept soft bracket, endpoint hard bracket.
Okay.
So that's, I wrote that up here because that can be a tricky one to remember. So only hard brackets are the endpoints, and definitely soft brackets at any x-intercepts. Increasing and decreasing always soft brackets. So positive and negative is the only time you ever have to worry about that. And I'll probably post this on Canvas sooner rather than later so that we can turn the page here quickly and check the back, but then you can add to it later if you feel like you didn't get a chance to write all this stuff down. Because I want to give you at least a half hour today to work on this quiz because it's kind of the same thing, just, 2 on the front, 2 on the back. I'd love to see if we can get it done in class if we could. Because the rule when I make stuff for you guys to do, I do it, I see how long it takes. I take that amount of time and multiply by 6. It took me 5 minutes to do the solutions to this, to the quiz. So I want to give you at least a half hour because there's 5 times 6. Okay, I'm going to turn to the back. If you didn't get a chance to fill this whole thing out, it's okay. I'll go back to it, but I want to give you a chance to check the back too. All right, number 3 was different for the first time. We had arrows on both ends, right? So you've got no min and no max, right? Domain and range, both negative infinity to infinity. That was kind of the first time we'd seen that. So I wanted to make sure I gave it to you on a practice before we ever looked at anything like that for real. And you got some, couple intervals for increasing, 3 intervals for decreasing, some positives and some negatives. So check those out, and I want you to ask questions now before we get to the quiz. Call it a quiz. It is because the scale is not 1-to-1. Yeah, so that's the thing that we got to watch out for too. Is they're going to start messing with what every box is worth, up and down, and left and right. So like this one was what? Yeah, 2 in the x direction, then 5 in the y direction. And the same thing for number 4. It was 3 in the x direction and 10 for the y's. So that's why our numbers got a little bit bigger. Like I'm in 12, -30 for number 4. Right? It's only over 6 boxes and down 3, but or over 4 boxes. Sorry, over 4 boxes and down 3. But if you made a mistake like that, you didn't read the scale right, and you kind of made that mistake consistently throughout that, that's not 10 mistakes. It's just one mistake that kind of compounded itself. You're not going to lose 10 times as many points as you should, right? I will take that into consideration when I get this thing graded. And I don't know. I mean, if the first time we do this, it doesn't go great, we can take it again. I can make up like a quiz 1.1 redemption if you feel like, man, like I felt like I had it, but then you take this quiz here in a couple of minutes and it doesn't click for you. I'm happy to give you a chance at redemption for sure. But I just wanted to see where we were at because I want to move on. I want to get to some other stuff pretty soon. What I might have you guys do Thursday is log in live with me with cohort B so we can do the same lesson together. But we'll see. I'll cross that bridge as we get a little closer. I want to see how today goes. I want to see how tomorrow goes for cohort B with all this stuff. But any questions on this? Sure. So easiest way to think about it, increasing, we go up from left to right. Decreasing, we go down from left to right. And so you're just kind of looking for the space where if you followed the graph with your pencil, you would go down or you'd go up, right? So start here. Which way do I go? Down. So I'm decreasing. Increasing, decreasing. Increasing, decreasing. I just name the x values where that's happening. All of these are all intervals of x values. I don't need to know about the y. And so I would say, okay, I'm decreasing from negative infinity, right, because it's going forever, negative infinity until negative 6. And then I'm increasing from negative 6 to negative 2. And then I'm decreasing from negative 2 to 6. And then I'm increasing from 6 to 8. And then decreasing from, just like that. Okay? So increasing going up, decreasing going down, and you just say what x values, kind of like domain and range. We're just kind of chopping up the domain into chunks. Okay? Positive is above the x-axis. Negative is below. And so I am positive this whole time. From negative infinity to wherever I cross the x-axis. So 2. And then I'm negative from 2 to infinity. But it might happen in pieces like this. KJ, look, right? So I'm positive here, but now I'm negative. And now I'm positive again, and now I'm negative. So I was positive from negative infinity to 3, 6, 9, negative 12. And from negative 3 to 9. Of course, you guys can use what you've got. This is not closed book. You can use your homework 1.1 and you can use this practice to help kind of guide you, for sure. Should we do it? Let's do it. While we're here, while things are fresh, we'll give it a shot. We'll see how it goes. If we need to adjust later, we'll just adjust. I'm good. I'm flexible. I want you guys to do well, but I want you to do it freaking honestly. Killing me. You know I got 2 rules in here, respect and honesty, and too many of us broke both of them. You're welcome. You're welcome. Sure. All right, so ask questions. I don't know how much you remember, Gavin, if anything. Were you here for like min, max, domain, and range? Were you here for the first? Were you guys here for any of that? Okay. So we might have some catching up that we need to do. Oh yeah. I don't know what to do. Okay. Here, come sharpen it. Okay. Yeah, I know it's new and a little different. So exactly. Yep. Minimum is the lowest. Yes. So you just kind of scan the graph from bottom to top, and you pick the lowest one. Yeah. And then max is the highest. Yep. So you might be able to do some of like the first 4, like min, max, x-intercepts, y-intercepts, because those are just points. Just kind of name those. Domain is all of your x values from left to right. But because the graph is connected, I can't list every single point. So I just say where the graph starts and where it ends. Just the first x value and the last x value. Same thing for the range. I name the first y value and the last y value. All right, so take some time, try to work through this on your own, but with the help of the work you already have done yourself. Ask questions if you need some help. I'm going to leave this up here. It just has guidance for that stuff that we've learned recently. Increasing, decreasing, positive, negative. But let's see what you can do. Yeah.
When you say domain and range, like how do you find that?
So visually, domain is first x value on the left to last x value on the right. Range, because this went negative to positive, range we go this way. It's going to be the first y value at the bottom, last y value at the top. So what you're going to do with domain and range is you're going to say, here's where my graph starts on the left and it ends on the right. And if they're points, I use hard brackets for the points that exist. Because for something like domain, like that's an x value and so is that. It's just, this is your first x value and this is your last one. So I don't want to write it as a point. I don't want it to look like xy, so we use those hard brackets instead. Okay, and we just go from left to right, right over here for domain, from left to right. Exactly. Yeah. Other way, from the bottom to the top, because this went negative to positive. So I want exactly. So I want to go negative to positive. Exactly. So try that. See what you can do with that. That's just so the first four. Those are just points. Minimum, it's your lowest point. Just name it. X comma y. 3, negative 4, or whatever it is. Same thing for max. It's your highest point on the graph. So 3, 7, or whatever it is. X-intercept, what's the x-intercept? Y-intercept, where does it hit the y-axis, right? But then domain and range, increasing, decreasing, positive, negative, those are intervals from where it starts to where it ends. Starting to, yeah. Try that. Now you have the rest of the class to get this done as best you can. And I want you to give me what you've got by the time class is over. And we'll go from there. Show me what you can do in the time that we've got. So have a good pace here. Have a good pace. Sure.
Okay, so for the decreasing,
yeah.
Would it go from here to here or here to here?
All the way. Yeah, because even though it changes a little bit in its, like how quickly it's decreasing, you're still going down. Yeah. Huh?
The main is just like the closest point when you come to
the
left.
Yep.
So the final range is the wire, right?
Exactly. Yep. Yep. Range, left to right. Oh, sorry. Domain, left to right. Range, bottom to top. So when you list increasing, decreasing, positive, negative, they're just x values.
Okay.
So when we say increasing, what you're telling me from -2 to 2 is that this graph started increasing when x was -2, so starting at that point right there,
Okay.
and then it went all the way to when x is 2, so it took you from here to there. So you're kind of looking at like, there's the graph, the section of the graph where it's going up.
Okay.
From -2 to 2. Yep. Exactly. And when it's increasing, decreasing, we always use soft brackets. Because remember, when you start at that first point, you haven't started to go up yet. You got to take that first step. Okay, so when we're talking, and Jaden, I'll talk to you at the same time. So domain, we kind of like try to box in the graph from left to right. And say, okay, the whole graph exists between my fingers, right? From here to here. Exactly, right? And so what I want to say is, for domain, what is that first x value where a point exists? And so I just kind of count my boxes over to whatever that x value is where this graph starts, -4, okay? And then I say, okay, because it's all connected, I can't count all those points. So I'm just going to say, all right, let's go all the way through and get myself to the end. And what I'll do is I'll just say, okay, what's the last x value where there's a point? Right there at 2. So that's why the domain here goes from -4 all the way to 2. We'll put a comma between them like we do for points, but we're going to use hard brackets instead of parentheses, soft brackets, so that you know that those points exist. Those are actual points that I can use, I can go to, and be there. So for this, right, so that was the practice. So for the quiz, I just want to do the same thing. I want to say, okay, from left to right, I'm just going to scan the graph, and I'm going to say, okay, where's the first point that I run into? All right, there it is. And for domain, what's the x value where that happens? -1, -2, -3. And because it's domain, I don't worry about the actual y value at that spot. I just go from left to right, naming the x values. So my first point right here, -3. And so I write down in the domain, -3. It's going to be the hard bracket. Yeah, good. And then we just go all the way to the end. Good, right? I go to that last point all the way here on the right, and I say, what's that x value? Perfect. Point exists. It's a hard bracket. Okay, so domain is all your x values. I don't care about the y's. The only time I care about the y's is with the range. So now I look at the graph top to bottom. But in reality, we went from left to right for domain, right? We went from the negative side of the graph to the positive side. So when we do range, we're going to do the same thing. It's kind of weird, but we're going to go from the bottom of the graph to the top because that's negative to positive. And so I don't care about left and right. I don't care about that beginning and the end when I talk about range. I just care about where's my lowest y value and where's my highest. And so I just scan the graph from bottom to top. And I say, all right, where's the first point that I run into something on the graph? Oh, there it is. Not this one, but this one. And what's the y value at that spot? How many boxes? There you go. So your range starts at -3, which is just a coincidence that the domain and range both start at the same number. And then I go up to the top, and I just find that highest y value on the graph. Good. And because the points exist, I use the hard brackets. Okay. The only thing that changes is if the graph goes on forever on one side. And that's what those arrows mean. That it's just going to keep going. And so we have infinity in either direction, right? We've got negative infinity to the left and positive infinity to the right. Negative infinity at the bottom and positive infinity at the top. So that's why with this one, the domain was negative infinity because I started left forever to positive infinity. Now I know it's up to down. I don't care about up and down when I'm talking about domain. It's just left to right. So negative, positive. So the first thing I run into here is not a point, I run into an arrow. And the moment I hit an arrow first and not a point, like that, that's when I know I'm starting at negative infinity. And if the last thing I run into is an arrow instead of a point, I know that I'm going forever in this direction. Yeah, I'm going down while I do it, but I'm going forever to the right. That's a positive x direction, so we're going to call that positive infinity. Negative, positive, negative, positive.
So then this one would be negative infinity to whatever that is.
Exactly.
Okay.
Good. Good. That's a good idea. Yeah. Yeah. Start with min, max, and your intercepts, and then just domain and range. And then this increasing, decreasing, positive, negative stuff, that was new to us last week. So you guys you're not that as far behind with that stuff as with everything else. So we can catch up.
Right, it goes from left to right.
Right.
Point.
But it's because it's domain, I want the first point on the left, but I just care about the x value at that spot, not the y. You name the y value. But so you found the first point on the left, but don't tell me the y value that gets you there. Tell me the x value. There you go. And you still have more than 15 minutes left, so put as much of a dent into this as you can. Yeah. So the easiest way to think about increasing is to just watch the graph go up from left to right. So, and you want to find the space where that happens. So as I scan this graph from left to right, I just kind of follow the graph along with my finger or my pencil. My finger going up,
yep.
Then it's increasing. And I just want to say when that happens. So I'm just going to kind of block off the part of this graph, there it is, where it goes up from left to right. And I'm just going to name the x value where that happens. So it started there and it stops there. So what's that first x value right there? -1, -2, -3. Okay, so -3.
And then soft bracket?
Soft bracket always, because at the first point, I haven't started to go up yet. I have to take that first step first. And then so there it goes, up, 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 up. And I just kind of get to this point here at the top, and I just say, okay, but what's the x value where that happens? I don't care about up and down, because I'm already talking about going up. Yeah, so from -3 to -1, soft bracket for both. And then same idea for decreasing, it's just, let's just go down from left to right. I name the first x value, and the last soft brackets always. Sure. Take a picture and upload it to Canvas. Yeah. So there's a spot on Canvas for quiz 1.1. When you're done, if you get it done here in class, take a picture of the front, take a picture of the back, and upload.
Would that apply to the y and the x?
It does, yeah. So that arrow, and that's why I kind of draw it, not just going up, but also out. Like I give it kind of an angle, so you know it is going to go out forever and up forever. Yeah. This is quiz 1.1. So 1.1 practice is what I assigned Friday. Like I did an example up here, and I sent that to you guys And so that's probably the hard copy, Sean. I might have given you that hard copy today. And then assignments. You got to go down to tests and quizzes. Quiz 1.1. And so what I'll probably do is I'll see how you guys do today. I'll give you a grade on it. If you're happy with the grade, you can be done. If you want to improve on it, I'll make a new one and you can do that one. I'm going to grade it as best you got. And then if you want to do better, I'll give you like a second one. And you can do it kind of on your own time. That kind of thing. I'm going to grade what you've done. Like I'm going to grade the questions that you've done. Yeah. I'm going to grade those 3 and see how you do. Now, because you didn't finish it, I'm not going to like completely wipe out all of those points. I'm not going to say, hey, you only did 75% of the quiz, so you can only get a 75. I won't say that, but you can't get 100. You know what I mean? Effort, completion, and correctness. I'd love to see what you can get done in class right now. I want to see how much can you get done in the half hour that I gave you. That'll kind of give me a sense for how much you know. And that's all good. Oh, that's all good then. When I say you can't get 100, it doesn't mean you can't get a 95. You know what I mean? So, but I just want to see, because we all work at our own pace for sure. And I know I kind of put this on us quickly, but I want to see what you're like under pressure. Okay, that's okay. So you got the points part down. Now what we have to get to is the intervals where things start and end. Because everything else from here down has a beginning point and an ending point. And those are the only 2 things you have to name. So that's why when we say, hey, the domain of this function is from -4 to 2, because the first x value on the left, -1, 2, 3, -4, and the last x value on the right is 2. And so when you said 05, when you said it goes from -4 to 2, what you've done is you've named the first x value and you've named the last x value. But there should be hard brackets here.
They should be hard.
Yeah, because those points exist, like you did here. There you go. Okay. And so the same thing here is I just want to say, okay, from left to right, I'm just going to say, here's my first x value on the left. Here's my last x value on the right. I want to put hard brackets in.
Okay. Because I kept looking at it and it just wasn't making sense.
Right. Probably because of the brackets. I think if you had the brackets, that might be a better reminder that those points actually exist. I mean, what do you think, Luke? Would it be better if I just said take this home and finish it? Then let's do that. I'm cool with that. Let's do that. If you don't finish it in class, take it home, finish it, get it to me tonight. Because I'd rather see what you can do, for sure. Let's do that. If you don't finish it in class, take it home and get it to me tonight. Okay. Best way to think about positive and negative. Positive is above the x-axis. Negative is below. And you're just naming the x values for those sections of the graph. And so if I look back at like 1.1 practice, that's a quiz. Yes, go ahead. And I pick like the first one. And I say, where is this graph positive? It's that space right there, right? From here to here, and from there to there. And I just name the x values where it happens. So I say, okay, -1, 2, 3, so from -4 to -3. Union from 0 to 2. Positive. Yeah, because that's above the x-axis. There's a negative side. Yep. And I just say, just like we did for domain, just like we did for increasing, decreasing, it's just x values. The only one that's y values is range. Yeah. So when we say positive, what I'm just looking for is that section of the graph and that one where it exists above the x-axis. And all I do, I go from left to right, just like we always do with our x's. And I name the x value where it starts and where it ends. And because -3 was an endpoint, is where things started, Ryan, hard bracket at that spot. Yep, hard bracket at your endpoints for negative and positive. Increasing, decreasing, always soft brackets because you have to take a step to be increasing. But I can start positive, or I can start negative, or I can end positive or end negative. Which one?
-2, -1, right?
So positive, but is that a soft bracket or hard?
That's hard bracket.
So soft bracket because it's an x-intercept. Because you're not positive yet. So here it is again. For positive and negative, it can only be a hard bracket at an endpoint. And I'm talking like first point, last point, nothing in between. If it's an x-intercept, where things obviously are changing from positive to negative, because I got to cross the x-axis to do it, it's definitely going to be a soft bracket at that spot. Definitely, definitely, definitely. Always, always, always got to be a soft bracket at that spot. But from -2, but look, we're talking about positive.
Yeah.
This whole section is positive.
Yeah.
So I don't have to break it up at -1.
Okay, so you go all
-2 to 1. The whole section. This one's disconnected. You got this section, negative, this section, negative.
I have a question. Is this right? I do want to positive 1 to 2. It should be negative.
But it goes by 2, so -2, -4, -6. But it stops being positive the moment it crosses over. So, like, you're talking positive, just like cover up the bottom half of the graph. You got these two sections, this one and this one. So you got to say, okay, from this x value to that one, union from this x value to that one. Margaret, I saw your hands up. Huh?
Am I missing a positive with increasing?
Maybe. It's tricky. That's why this stuff was like the last stuff we did. So positive is where the graph exists above the x-axis. I don't care if it's going up or down at that point. I just want to separate the graph. Like the x-axis is going to chop this graph into two pieces, the positive side and the negative side. Increasing and decreasing is where we actually kind of follow the function and say, am I going up from left to right or am I going down from left to right? So like here is decreasing, 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 decreasing the whole way until I get to here. Increasing, 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 decreasing, 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 decreasing. You know what I mean? So when I think positive and negative, I think that versus this.
So for positive and negative, do I just label all of the points that are on the upper side of the lake?
Basically, yes. Yeah. So when you say positive, you just want to name all of those. But because you have these two sections, you have like from negative infinity all the way to here. But then it drops below, so I have to like kind of break up my section, and then from here to here.
Okay.
So I've got from here to here, union
That would be
here to here.
infinity to -20.
Good. And then union from here to there. So that would be your whole positive section, and then there would be your whole negative section. From there to there, and then from there to there.
For this one, would it be 0 to 30?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Perfect. Yep. And then when you talk about increasing, decreasing, you want to actually kind of like, you want to move with the function. Like I feel like increasing, decreasing is not so static, it's not so stuck. It's like I have to move to know, am I going up or am I going down? So that's where I kind of follow the graph with my pencil, with my eyes, and I say, all right, where does this graph start? Okay, negative infinity. And the moment I start moving, am I going down or am I going up? Well, we're going down. And so I would start labeling that as part of my decreasing. And you can do like your increasing and decreasing answers at the same time, where you say, okay, I'm just going to go from left to right once. And I'm going to see how I start. If I start going down, then there's where my decreasing starts. And I'm just going to figure out, okay, when do I stop going down and take a turn and kind of head back up? Oh, well, that'll be where my increasing starts. And you say, okay, decreasing, increasing, decreasing, increasing. And you just kind of like back and forth you go a little bit, if that makes sense. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So then, is this where it starts?
For which one? For range?
No, just like for the graph.
So well, it depends on what you mean by start, because I could read the graph for domain, which is left to right, which means that this is where the graph would start because that's on the left. But when I read range, that's me reading the y values. That's going to be from bottom to top. So then that would be your starting point. So you've got kind of two different ways to read the graph, in the x direction or in the y direction.
So for the
Range is the y's. Start here.
and here.
Well, not really, because there's more points above that point. Like, here's your lowest y value.
And what it means, infinity.
Yeah, because it's going to keep going up and up and up and up.
And then I think for the increasing, I might have messed up. And
No, that looks good, because you start here from left to right.
okay.
Look at that section of that graph, right? It's going up as you look at it from left to right. And you named the perfect starting point, -10, and the perfect ending point, 20.
Always read it left to right.
Yes. So the only one that's bottom to top is range. Everything else is left to right. Everything else is left to right. Last couple moments. If you finish in class, great. If not, I like that idea. Let's take it home. Let's finish it. And let's get that submitted to the best of your ability. Ask me questions online tonight. I mean, you can even finish it as part of your work for tomorrow. That's cool too. Because I know you've got other stuff that you might need to get done. Exactly. Yeah, and then you got to eat and you got to relax sometime. Like, you can't just go. You're gonna run out of steam. So let's say let's do that then. That sounds good. Tomorrow midnight. Again, please reach out if you have something you need to tell me about quiz number 0, and you have today to do that. Yep.
Okay, so for this one, it wouldn't be, the minimum wouldn't be none, it would be the maximum none, even though it's on the
Correct.
left.
Right,
Okay.
because when we talk min and max, it's lowest point and highest point. Yeah.
Just want to double check with you and make sure I'm doing it.
Looks pretty good. Yeah, I like it.
And then I was a little confused on this, so is that correct?
So we don't need the use when you're just listing points. We only need the use, which is union of sets, when we get to here, these and down. So you can just say -20, 0, and 0, 0, and, or you just use commas to separate them. We want to name all of them.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yep, for sure.
Should I just give this to you now?
No, do the best you can. Like, hold on to it, because we can work on it more either like virtually over this week, or we can like pick it up next week too. Because we're going to switch gears a little bit, so we might have time to just kind of come back to it later. And you don't need this to do 1.2, the next thing. They're two separate ideas, so you're good.
I just had a question.
Yeah.
With the infinities,
Yeah.
are those hard brackets?
No, always soft, because we only use the hard brackets if points exist. And infinity is not a point, it's just a direction. Right? It's just going to go on forever.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
For the range, we'd be using a lot of infinities, right?
Maybe. The only time we're ever going to use infinity is if there's an arrow.
Okay, and then.
So we're just going to go bottom to top. Yeah. So for the range, it's just from the bottom of the graph to the top of the graph. What's the lowest point? See your cards? To the highest one.
So this would be the lowest.
There it is. Yep. So you just name that y value at that spot.
Y value.
Yep.
Which would be, so the x would be 2.
But what's the y value? Go down 1, 2. Good. So I would just say, okay, my range goes from -3, that's my lowest y value, always yellow, to the highest y value, which is 3. So -3, comma 3. That's your range.
I think I can do the 4 ranges.
Okay.
And then for the positive and negative.
It's kind of like increasing, decreasing, in that it might happen in multiple sections, but the best way to think about positive and negative, positive, where is it above the x-axis? Negative, where is it below the x-axis?
So would it just be 1 point then?
No, it's not a point. It's still an interval of x values, because like if I cover up the bottom half of this graph, this thing is above the x-axis in this whole space up here, right? From -2 all the way to 1. So I would say that this graph is positive
From -2.
to 1, right? Soft brackets because those are x-intercepts. Like I'm not above the x-axis yet at -2. Work on it, and we can talk about it tomorrow or tonight. Hit me up, for sure. What's up?